Welcome back to the 1760 sessions, where we explore the stories of founders, entrepreneurs, and business leaders who are building something meaningful. I'm Harry. This is Barney. Today, I'm speaking with DeNitra Davis, founder of Knewtritional Knowledge. DeNitra is a metabolic health practitioner who's helping people reverse chronic illness through a philosophy that's both simple and powerful. If you knew better, could you, should you, would you do better? She's spoken at the World Nutritional Summit in South Africa recently. She's a certified coach with over 25 years in education, and she's on a mission to close the knowledge gap in metabolic health. Big a bit of a long intro there, but welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. So glad to be here. And nutritional, Knew, nutritional
Yeah.
knowledge. We believe if you knew better, would you, could you, should you do better? So yes, thank you for having me, Harry.
And I absolutely love that tagline. That's why I had to keep it in the introduction. So let's begin. Denitra, I understand your journey into metabolic health started with a lupus diagnosis. I appreciate that was some time ago now. Can you walk myself and our listeners through what that moment was like and how it changed the trajectory of your life, really?
Absolutely. And I also want to indicate that I'm the co-founder. My husband and I started Nutritional Knowledge together. Sam Davis is my husband. So this has been our venture. My journey into optimal healing did start. It got a little bit more serious when I got the autoimmune. I had been trying to work out some things, cholesterol, prediabetes, eczema, obesity, and then ultimately was diagnosed with an autoimmune and had recently lost a loved one who had the same diagnosis. And I just knew I needed to do something different. And so, yes, it helped me to go deeper. I was prescribed Plaquenil and was scared to death, literally, to take it. And so I needed to find out what was causing it. The thing that I was being told is that, an autoimmune issue is, your body fighting against itself. It's turned on itself. And, at that time I was believing that. And what I've learned is that it's really not my body fighting against itself. It's my body fighting against those foreign things that I was putting in it. And so that is how I got started with learning more about what I should be putting in my body.
So you were basically told this is your new normal, take these medications and kind of just live with it. But it's amazing you decided to go a different route. What made you think there might be another way?
Well, one of the things that happened is I met a young lady when I was doing physical therapy for a rotator cuff, and she started talking to me about certain vegetables that you eat because we think vegetables have a past. You can eat them all you want. And she started explaining to me about what nightshade vegetables were. Those are your potatoes, your eggplant, which at that time I was trying vegan vegetarian to be healthy. And so she made a recommendation that I try not eating those to just see if I felt better in my pain levels. And sure enough, when I removed the potatoes, the nuts, I started to feel better. So then I went down a rabbit hole. I'm a nosy
Yeah.
girl. So
So
yeah.
it's amazing to hear that you went vegetarian vegan, but it actually got sicker. And that must have been generally been terrifying because we are told that vegetables are the be all and end all. It's like vegetables are going to cure everything. We were told as kids that carrots would help us to see in the dark. Um, so do you think this is a one size fits all approach, or do you think this is just personable to you? Do you think there could be other people out there like you, or do you think it's everyone is like this?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I do believe in what I have learned about the body is what it does take to thrive and what's essential. And I would say that's a one size fit all. And so the body requires macronutrients. There are three. There's protein, fat, and carbohydrates. And what I now know is that no one's body needs carbohydrates. And anything that falls under the carbohydrate realm, they're unnecessary, they're non-essential. And so in that instance, I would say yes, one size fit all. The caveat that I would add to that is how much damage have you already done to your body with carbohydrates is going to make the difference in where your entry point is and how you start to make your changes.
And as we know, carbohydrates are in literally everything. Specifically, if living in Britain, a lot of people tend to drink a lot of alcohol. Alcohol is filled with carbohydrates, and these are evil toxins that your body kind of needs to expel. So you switch to this low carb approach, and then eventually, as we just spoke about, you're almost full carnivore. So that's no fruits, no vegetables. Primarily, just for those who don't know, a carnivore diet is primarily just meat. And from myself, my own experiences, I've been on carnivore diets. I'm all for them, but a lot of people do see them as quite radical. How did your body respond when you first took on this carnivore approach?
Right. So you mentioned that I started with low carb, low carbohydrates. And I just want to say for the audience, just I'm a teacher, I'm an educator,
Yeah,
so you're gonna get a little lesson when you're working with me or you're talking to me. So carbohydrates are a sugar molecule. The word saccharide means sugar. So whenever you're eating carbohydrates in any form, they're going to metabolize in your body as sugar. And the other thing I add to that is all plant-based stuff turns to sugar. All
yeah,
plants turn to sugar. So with that being said, for me, starting to remove those, the more I remove sugar. So carnivore to me is a label, but the process itself, really what you're doing is taking sugar out of your diet. So
yeah.
when you remove carbs, and so we've labeled that carnivore because we call, certain animals that are meat eaters carnivores. And so for me, my body did well. My skin, I mean, stuff have been fixed on me that I didn't even know was a problem.
Okay.
Right. My skin, I suffered with eczema for years where my skin was, all
Better.
warped up.
And
Um,
what about your energy levels?
my energy levels. I mean, this is what you get. You get me, yeah, you
Love it.
get me hype all the time.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So many things, joint pains that I was not even connecting to, some of the issues that I was having improved. I was pre-diabetic. I mean, it was so many things happening that they just gradually improve because now you're giving your body the fuel that it needs. So I think I love carnivore. I call it carnivore-ish. Um, Go
This
ahead.
this question is a bit unscripted, but it's just making I love this conversation because it's making my brain tick. And I went through a diet phase of eating a lot of red meat, a lot of eggs, a lot of avocados, because there's a lot of social media influence out there telling us that this is the right diet to do, and I fully indulged in it. And then a few weeks later, well, maybe a few weeks later, it was a few months later, I was told by the doctor I had a high cholesterol. Um, what is your response to that? Do you think I should have wound it back, or I spoke to someone else who said to me cholesterol is a bit of a myth, Harry, and I'm just a bit conflicted on what the right answer is.
Right. So cholesterol, LDL cholesterol is what increases when you are eating because the cholesterol we eat does raise the LDL, which we have labeled it bad. It should not be called bad. It is good. So your body needs it. It thrives on it. It makes it. It's a protector of you. And so yes, it's not just a myth. It's a bold-faced lie, essentially. And for anybody who wants to do deeper research, again, the educator
Uh,
here, Uncell Keys is who they need to research, is how we got into this cholesterol mess. And
yeah, it's
I'm on
huge.
high cholesterol, but it's been the best thing for me.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
cardiologist tried to
it's
put me on a statin.
I have actually heard similar things about cholesterol before. As I said, I've been told it's a bit of a myth, and that's kind of relatable to what you're saying at the moment. But we're so wound into us that cholesterol is really bad for us that I remember when I told my mum that I had a high cholesterol, she nearly hit the roof. She was just like, I can't believe it. At your age, you've got a high cholesterol. And for her, it was scary. And that's because I think we've had drummed into us for so long that having a high cholesterol is a really, really bad thing.
So the thing is this, dementia patients and the research and the science is now starting to show that what is happening with dementia patients is that they have low cholesterol. They've been on a statin drug, and so now we call it type 3 diabetes because they've lowered their cholesterol now, which means their brain is primarily running on sugar. And this is where this fogginess and memory loss is coming from. But it started with a very poor study, and then it has stuck because statin drugs are a $1 trillion business. And so it is a risk factor, but the cholesterol that you eat is not the cholesterol that clogs your arteries.
Okay.
They do not crisscross each other. There are some deeper things that you need to do with your doctor in terms of like LDL and triglycerides, but the LDL cholesterol in most cases has nothing to do with what could potentially be going wrong in your heart. What I recommend for people who have been diagnosed with high cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, is that they get what's called a CAC score. That's a coronary artery calcium score, which is actually a picture of your heart.
Okay.
Now, interestingly enough, Harry, most insurances don't pay for that. You have to pay out of pocket. It's like sometimes $50 to $100. But rather than taking this risk factor of what the LDL being bad and could be a risk for your heart, you can look at a CAC score and actually see what's going on with your heart. So for me personally, when I was diagnosed with high cholesterol and the doctor wanted to put me on a statin because I had been in these circles, I asked for a CAC score. My CAC was a 0. And it's kind of like a colonoscopy that says you're good for the next 10 years.
Yeah,
So I
amazing.
had no risk with my actual looking at my heart. And so most people don't know to do that. So that's where I come in as a metabolic health educator, where I'm teaching people that I can't diagnose you, I can't, treat medically, but I can say educationally, ask your doctor to give you a CAC score, CAC scan, so you'll have that score to actually know what is going on with your heart. It's not a mystery. The LDL is kind of this mystery that says it might be bad, so let's treat it.
Yeah, and so it kind of wipes out the myth of that cholesterol is really bad, but you actually end up getting an understanding of what is really going on with your heart.
Absolutely.
I think that could be a good next step to me. So that means I can stop cutting out so much red meat out of my diet because I love red meat.
No,
Um,
red meat is actually, if I can just say a
yeah,
caveat here, it is. I always use the analogy of, we have luxury cars that use premium gas. Your body is a luxury item creation and it needs premium. Beef is going to be premium for your body. There's nothing better that you can put in it.
and when you're shopping for beef, I buy a lot of steak, I buy a lot of mince. As I told you earlier, I'm cooking a chili con carne at the moment. Are you buying premium meats because as you said, you want to treat your body like a premium car, so you want to put premium gas? You won't go to the supermarket, for example, the shop and buy a low end meat, but you look to buy the higher organic meats.
No, I don't, not necessarily.
Okay.
I do like personally for tenderness, I like a prime ribeye is my first choice. But I eat ground beef. I like liver cheese, which has some dirty ingredients in it. I would say any meat you can get your hand on is going to
Yeah.
be better than Cheerio. Any meat you can get your hand on is going to be better than a potato. So your body is looking for nutrients, and so you're going to get nutrients if it's based in meat. I eat a lot of bacon.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I would say you don't have to be in a store. Everything doesn't have to be grass fed. I personally don't like grass fed, grass finished. It's too strong for me.
Okay.
So my ground beef is regular ground beef when I want to make a burger patty.
Okay, amazing. But yeah, that's another thing that I've been learning as well. It's everything we're told is should be grass fed. And then is there are some meats better than other meats to be eating? For example, beef being better than fish or beef being better than chicken. What's the
That's a
kind
great
of
question too. I think beef is the premium. I think everything else falls under that. So when people ask me about, well, what do you eat with the meat? What's your side items? What's your vegetables? So for me, I may put shrimp next to some beef. I may put scallops. I may eat a piece of fish or a piece of chicken. Beef is going to be the main source of my fuel. For my body. But I love chicken wings. There may be a day where I come in and I fix chicken wings in the tallow that I rendered from the beef fat that I bought. So I think that those things are not going to give you the nutrients. The goal is to make sure you're getting optimal nutrients when you sit down to eat.
I feel like we should have dinner at some point. Yeah, you're
I like
preaching.
the sound of it.
You're preaching to the choir here. So
Yes,
another thing I wanted to touch on is when we last spoke, you mentioned your husband Sam went through a transformation of his own. How did watching him change impact the way you help clients today?
absolutely. So watching him has been amazing. I will say, I subscribe to the men do better than women, faster and better. So I've watched him literally lose 30 pounds. And I tease myself and say, did I find it? But watching him literally get serious about, his own diagnosis is, the things that he needed to do for himself and just sticking to it. I mean, he's transformed people in his school just by them watching him because he's been very clear on how he wants to fuel his body. So getting that knowledge, being able to self-identify and say, hey, this is what's happening in my body. I don't like it. I got the right information for it now. Let me make the change. It's been amazing. I mean, I have before, if you go to our website, you'll see before and after pictures where he looks like a brand new younger man, just by dropping 30 pounds. So it's quite inspiring.
That's incredible. Just from an own experience of myself, an uncle of mine, we moved him, well, not myself, my cousin, moved him onto a ketogenic diet, but that ended up being him eating lots, like a whole pack of bacon with butter. So it wasn't actually cutting out the calories, sadly, but I think it did help him lose some weight. But just because the vast amounts of meat and dairy products he was eating, it probably wasn't as positive as we would have hoped.
Yeah, and I would venture to say that it probably was good for him because calories are also one of those myths that maybe in the next 10 or 15 years we'll stop counting calories and make carbohydrates be the thing that we count. Because when you think about calories, a glazed chocolate donut has 300 calories. A piece of salmon is 300 calories. What they do inside your body is different, right? And so when you tell people to eat calories or eat this amount of calorie, it really does depend on the quality of the calorie. Because when I eat a chocolate donut, first of all, it's going to make me hungrier because I got no nutrients. But that salmon is going to do something totally different. I'm not going to have a blood spike eating salmon versus the eating the donut. And so him eating bacon and dairy probably still was the best thing that he could do in that season versus eating a lot of sugar that was spiking and keeping the insulin high.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I always think calorie counting is going to play a part because people would love, and myself included, like to try and stay in a deficit, even though it's a struggle to do so. But it wouldn't be such a struggle to do so if maybe I cut out certain carbs in my diet because then I'd be eating more whole foods.
But if you
Um,
think about it, a ribeye is high in calories.
yeah, yeah, I know.
But those calories are all good. You're getting all nutrients when you eat that versus if you were eating those same amount of calories as a salad, a baked potato, macaroni and cheese, what's going to happen on the inside of you is tearing you up. But that the ribeye is not going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right.
So I
You
think
see,
we
I'm a
can talk
ribeye kind of girl.
I think we can talk about the ribeye topic forever. Um, so you were a teacher for 25 years. You've also worked in corporate sales like myself. What made you decide to combine that education background with metabolic health and actually start nutritional knowledge?
Right. So for me, education is my life.
Yeah.
I've You're gonna get teaching from me to a point that I probably get on folks' nerves because if it's a teaching moment that happens, and I mean even with you here on the show already, I've probably given 3 lessons. I just think education is the deal maker for all of us. I think the more we know, the more we grow. I think the gap is what we don't know. I'm a whole Christian girl, and the Bible teaches us that you know the for the lack of knowledge, the people perish. And so we are dying because of what we don't know. And
Yeah.
so for me, the more I know, the more I can teach, just the better we are. So for me, bringing it into the metabolic space or bringing it into this healing space is that there are these gray areas, these gaps where people are living and making decisions about their health and they don't have the right information. And so that's what nutritional knowledge aims to become is this bridge over those gaps. And so we have people who are going back and forth to the doctor that, they come back and they say, all my numbers are good, but they have no idea what their numbers are. That's a huge gap.
Okay.
And so I say to my clients, like, what's happening in your body should not be a mystery to you. And so the more knowledge, so that's me as an educator saying, it's not only the doctors that know, it's not only me that know. You can know too what's happening with your body.
Yeah, and it kind of links in with your philosophy. If you knew better, could you, should you, would you do better? I understand it, but what's the would you do better part? Because it's telling someone if you have the knowledge, are you actually going to use it? But then how do you make someone actually use the knowledge?
So that's why it's all three of those. Could you, should you, would you? Because in some cases, people's health have deteriorated so much and they just can't. Whatever I teach them may not help them, right? Some people don't have the capacity. I was sharing with you earlier before we joined is that, there is no profit in healing. The profit is in keeping people sick. So I can come and say something to you, and need to be paid for my services, and you can't afford to pay me for my services. But here we are, metabolic health, and people who are in this field making all the difference, but there is no pipeline for profit with healing. And helping people just understand that they can be healed is part of the struggle, right? So if you are sick, you tend to think I can manage my sickness with my doctor, but no one is looking for a metabolic health practitioner. They're not beating down my door because they don't know until I have a conversation with them. Oh my God, you changed my life. I've lost 30 pounds. Oh, I'm not on the meds anymore. And so you're right, you can't make someone. And so it's why we come to platforms like this. It's why I have a show. And we just keep trying to, spray the information out there to make it the normal conversation that it's okay to eat a steak. It's not going to kill you. As a matter of fact, it's going to help you live longer.
Yeah, and look, it's incredibly powerful what you're doing. It's almost like you're finding things that the doctors are potentially missing. Can you potentially give me well, can you give me an example of what that might look like with a client?
Yep. So it is as recent as yesterday. I met with a lady who has stage three kidney failure. I mean, the next step is stage four, and we've been talking for maybe about 6 weeks, having different conversations. I recommended some labs to her. And so that's the other thing. We go to the doctor, and most of the labs that they do, I call it a pipeline to a prescription because doctors practice medicine, and I'm not trying, this is not a browbeat on doctors. I love them. We need them. But the labs that they do are usually tied to a prescription. So they check your blood pressure needs a prescription. They're not checking to see what was the root cause of the blood pressure so that I can teach you how to get rid of the blood pressure versus putting you on a med. So in particular, this woman is taking three medications, one for high cholesterol, one for blood pressure, and then something to help a diuretic for her kidneys. Well, when I looked at her meds, she's pre-diabetic. A doctor isn't having a conversation with her about having a 6.3 A1C and an 11 fasting insulin. I mean, a fasting insulin needs to be, under a 5 or a 4. And so you're insulin resistant. And until I said that word to her, I can't tell her she's insulin resistant, but this is mirroring what insulin resistance is. No doctor has made those connections for her. So they're treating her for a kidney, they're treating her for blood pressure, and they're treating her with a diuretic. But no one is saying, ma'am, can you stop eating carbohydrates? Can you stop getting up every morning eating oatmeal? Can you take the chips out your diet? Can you stop drinking a diet Sprite? Can you not eat pasta? Because what's happening is her blood sugar is running high consistently, although she's not diabetic yet. But her blood sugar is already damaging her body. She may never become full blown diabetic, but you have all these other issues that are happening. And because of that, someone needs to be saying to her, and it's just random that I happen to meet her. She, knows someone, she works with someone that I know, and that's how she got referred to me. And so because of that, how many other people like her with those same diagnoses is not getting the right educational information to make, I mean, in 90 days, she could flip this on its head. But she's been dealing with it for the last 10 years.
Have you given her a diet plan moving forward?
So I don't offer diet plans. What I teach is what the body thrives on. And I offer sessions to help coach you along to keep you on track. So I teach them that you need protein and fat are the primary fuels for your body. Carbohydrates are unnecessary. And so the more carbohydrates you put in your body, the more your blood glucose sugar is going to be high and the more insulin is going to work high. And then your body is going to become inflamed.
What's ticking in my brain is like, I've done a lot of long distance running, and what I will always return to the night before I run is a carbohydrate meal. Should I be flipping that on its head? What's your kind of response there?
Absolutely. So, in any sense of it, the body does not need carbohydrates. They are non essential. I say you could live longer and better without them, even athletes. And there's research, and you and I can talk offline, and I can send you
Yeah.
the research for what athletes are finding. They are not necessary. The glucose that you need does not have to come exogenous. Your body can create the sugar or the glucose that it needs. You do not have to eat it, right? The body can only manage 1 teaspoon of sugar in a day. Anything over that makes the blood glucose go up. And these are the basic foundational things that we're not taught. And so people keep thinking, oh, you got to have some vegetables. I love my vegetables. Your vegetables don't love you. And they're toxic. Let's don't even talk about the toxicity in vegetables because they don't want to die either. They want to stay alive. I mean, you think about it, a seed itself never dies. It never dies. So it re-ferments over and over again. If you go outside right now and you take a plant and you pluck it out the ground and you bring it in your house and put it in a cup of water, it is going to reroot. So they stay alive. They're very resilient. They crack through concrete.
You're trying to say the body can't break it down as well?
We have no mechanism in our body
Okay.
to break it down. Nothing. Now
So,
cows do. Beef does. Cows do.
okay, and do you know what's the difference in cows and humans that allows them to break it down?
Yes, they are ruminating. Cows are ruminating animals, so they have a ruminator that can process. So they're all grass eaters. But even if you think about it, look how big cows are. They're big because they eat grass.
Yeah.
But you want to tell me if I eat grass, I'm going to get small and be healthy. It doesn't work.
It's a very interesting take, and I'm very much enjoying hearing it. We've gone a bit off the script that I had prepared, but I'm enjoying it. I wanted to cover another topic just to
Sure.
your thoughts and feelings on it. What are your thoughts on fasting? Whether it's intermittent fasting or people that are fasting for like 72 hours. I've done my fair share of intermittent, but potentially looked into going for longer. From your knowledge and your teachings, what does it tell me about that?
I'm gonna send you a bill after this, Harry. You're getting a whole session.
Right, my brain's ticking and I can't
I
help
know,
asking
right?
questions. I'm
So
interested in.
fasting is one of the best things that you can do to your body as well. It is so if you think about it this way, we eat too much and too often. So again, I use the analogy of a car. You pump it with fuel and you leave it alone and you let it run its course for the day or wherever until it runs empty. That run empty and sitting and waiting before it goes to the gas station again that's fasting.
Yeah.
Right? You're consistently driving. You don't give it a snack. You don't say, oh my God, it's on the fourth of a tank. Let me go stop over here at this gas station. It's running out. Let me give it more. That's not how we work a car, the vessel. So it's the same way with our bodies. If we fuel it properly, if we satiate it, then the body can handle waiting until it's time to be fueled again. The problem is we're eating foods that are not nutrient dense,
Yeah.
and the body is continuing to crave for more. And so my show, Carnivore-ish, the ish stands for informed, satiated, and healing. And so ideally, when you get the right information, then you will know the importance of being satiated. It's a fancy word that most people don't use, but it's really the goal for eating is to make sure you're satiated. And then you just forget about food until it's time for you to satiate again. but that's not how we've lived. We've been told eat 3 meals a day, eat these, 6 servings of grains, and we continue to keep putting in where the body is not getting nutrients, so it keeps storing it. And this is why we get bigger. This is how we become inflamed. It's almost like punching with a punching bag, because the body is like, I'm not satisfied with that. I'm not satiated. So it just stores it, and it's not able to use it. So fasting is great. I do it every day. I think every person, and biblically, the Bible doesn't say, you know, if we fast, it says when we fast. So that is definitely should be a part, is when we are not consuming food and we're allowing our digestive tract to rest.
That's fascinating. And it kind of makes me understand fasting a lot better, in terms of as to why we do it. And I thought there were just other health benefits like weight loss, and there were other health benefits. I know people can think clearer when they haven't eaten, for example, less feelings of lethargic. So look, we're at a half-hour mark, and I could keep talking
I'll do it.
probably for England. So this has been a fantastic conversation. I wanted to spend some of the time diving into the business, but I was actually enjoying so much learning about your teachings, and thank you very much for blessing me with them. So
Absolutely.
to close off, if someone's listening to this right now and they're thinking, I want to make a change like DeNitra did, I want to take control of my health, take control of my diet, what's the first thing that you tell them?
Um, the first thing is making sure you understand your labs. At bare minimum, I say to anyone, you need to know 2 numbers, like you know your phone number, and that's your A1C and a fasting insulin. Do not do your A1C without a fasting insulin. Walk away with knowing, people come back to me and they say, "Oh, I'm not diabetic, I'm not pre-diabetic," and their A1C is like a 5.6, and that's a brag for them. That's almost in the pre-diabetic range. And what I say to people is, don't let the pre fool you, right? So we think I'm not diabetic yet, but I just shared with you a client who is
Yeah,
having other struggles because she's running high sugar. So you need to understand those numbers, and you need to couple it with the fasting insulin. That fasting insulin will tell you, is your A1C low because the insulin is doing the work for you, overworking for you. That's the first thing, is knowing your labs and just becoming an advocate for yourself, not just taking what the doctor says.
yeah,
All my numbers are in the green. Sometimes I tell people, as a teacher, your labs for me may be all in the green, but is it the difference between a D and a F? Right? I want you to be between an A and an F. I
yeah.
want you to have a far range of your health versus you so close to the edge that anything could make it catastrophic. And so it's really helping people understand that they get a chance to own what's happening with their bodies. That would be the first thing. In terms of me related to business, what I do is I'm an educator, I'm a coach. And so I help people on the journey, because it is a mindset shift. Almost everything that we've been taught is healthy for us.
Yeah.
Not met a client yet that once they had their first initial session with me, that they did not say to me, "Oh my God, my mind is blown." And so we have to get off of that first call, let them digress,
Yep. Take it all in.
process, just that, before we can even move forward with like a 90-day interaction together. Because you first have to grapple with yourself and say, I feel dumb. I feel crazy. Why didn't I know this? Oh, now this makes sense. And so as you come out of all of that, then you're ready for the help that it takes for you to have for the remainder of your life. Because this will be things, that's what we call it, lifestyle changes. Because we want you to be able to do things, learn things that you can do for a lifetime.
Amazing. And then
Yeah.
I think there's loads of things that I've taken away from today's call. And to be honest, it's your passion for not only the diet and the food side of things, but just people's longevity. And that's why you're doing this, and it's to help other people. And it's been fantastic talking with you. I have a million things to ask you after this call. Not to.
Cool.
But thank you so much for joining, and I'd love to get you back sometime. Lovely to see you. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Teacher.
Yep. I want to tell people how they can
Yeah, of
find
course.
me.
I'm
So
going
my
to put
name
a
is
link
on
as
the
well.
Oh, okay, cool. I wasn't sure how this is this system is new for me. But yeah, you can
Yes.
find me on Facebook at DeNitra Davis, and then Knewtritional Knowledge again. It's KNEWTRITIONAL, nutritionalknowledge.com. I'm also a part of an amazing, just signed up to be a part of an amazing platform called The Thriving Place. We're going to be on school. If you reach out to me, I can send you a link to be a part of that. We're launching that on the 18th of January. It's going to be an amazing sacred space to just come with no judgment. It's not just about food. It really is trying to go into the core of who you are and be better.
Amazing.
Yep.
Thank you so much, DeNitra.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.